Right, Carlo, yo, Shai, yo, Shai. It's Brandon the Quan for mine, it's the Quan for four. Come back at you with another video of prophecy. Uh, as we come into the final stages of this captivity, boom, we already hit a new landmark. I'm just going to get into this video straight away. But citation to the Ark Christians from the Syrian Truth. And Kwame Shah, we're nearly out of it. Let's play this video quick.
Tonight's Martin Dorby. Now, Donald Trump has done what he said he would do. He's achieved, at long last, the seemingly impossible, peace in the Middle East.
And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity.
After 2 years and 6 days, the war in Gaza is well and truly over.
It's over. The war is over, okay? You understand that?
And of course, the hostages, after 738 unimaginable days, they've returned home.
After 2 harrowing years and...
But people ain't noticing this is just the devils that they took back from Palestine, Edomite Ashkenazis. When it was the other side, they wasn't recognizing them as human beings. Even now they're saying peace, but stuff's still kicking off. It doesn't mean that things have just completely come to a halt. They're just saying it's peace for them, you know.
Darkness and captivity. 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time.
Of course, the president was doubted at every turn, but he has proved those doubters wrong, many of whom still find thank you the hardest phrase to say. I'm joined now in the studio by Joshua Trevino, the Senior Fellow at the America First Policy Institute, as well as GB News' Senior Political Commentator, Nigel Nelson. Joshua, I shall start with you. As an American citizen, can you put into words the pride you must be feeling today?
Absolutely. Look, this is what the American majority voted for Trump to do, to advance an agenda of peace, to break with stale orthodoxies that brought nothing but more war. And he did it. I think there's nothing that illustrates his willingness to be heterodox and to achieve his ends more than the fact that the United States alone, among the Anglosphere powers, did not reward Hamas terrorism with the recognition of a Palestinian state. That American difference.
And these are all Edomites. There's no difference between them. Ashkenaz, they're all the families of Edom. Okay, just that they may have a little tinge or accent or whatever, but they're all straight Edomites. Okay, some are pink or redder than others. The Americans, you know, they got more of a reddish hue, you know, more demonic. But I don't know, man, because they're British. You know, you'd be surprised.
It's made the difference in peace today.
At that point, let's bring in Sir Keir Starmer. Sir Keir Starmer has been criticised domestically and certainly internationally for that recognition of the state of Palestine right at the end game of this process.
Okay, boom. That's one of the juicy spots. So Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of the UK over here, he's being slammed or criticised, for apparently backdooring America by recognising Palestine as a state, where America obviously is so far deep under the covers in bed with Israel that they're not recognising them for shit. That's why they're glorifying this whole taking the apparent hostages back from Palestine, where Starmer's recognised Palestine as a state. So that's created a splint already, as it shows you that the beast shall hate the whore in the scriptures apparent coming soon anyway. So you can see that this is a splinter to where the EU and the beast will hate the whore. Okay, but we're going to get into that in a second, bring some scriptures out.
I knew this was winding down. Can we get your thoughts, please, on what many people believe has been a betrayal of Israel?
See, that's what they're calling it, a betrayal of Israel, since the UK, Keir Starmer, as a representative. He's apparently turned his back just by recognizing Palestine as a state. So that's going against Israel and beast in the hall pretty much. So that's this is the mother shot turning back on the daughter, because the UK, like, they're a financial superpower. They're not a military superpower like the armies and that. They don't have the same strength as America. So in regard, especially as well, they're so far on the other side of the ocean, Pacific and whatnot. They're not gonna break down for America's war, like, because they know that America's got so much pride. Like, they're not gonna tie into all that. They're too far on this side of the ocean. So it makes sense to not have to deal with certain things when they got their government ties coming through, like the energy. You got oil and stuff coming through Russia, Germany, and stuff like that. So why are you gonna? It makes no sense. But America's the whore that sits on the beast, so that it has to play out.
Look, it's. I won't comment on the UK-Israel relationship. I will comment on the US-UK relationship. The United States requires a strong Britain. The United States requires a Britain that holds fast to its values, to the core principles of Western civilization.
And have we done that?
No, absolutely not, and certainly not under the current government, the current regime. And Prime Minister Starmer and the decision of his government to reward Hamas terrorism with a recognition of a farcical Palestinian state that does not exist was a breach in the concord that should exist between the United States and Great Britain.
Got a quick clip here earlier on. Keir Starmer, I believe.
So if you didn't hear that, he's because Americans, they're more patriotic. They're more culturally. That's how they are. Like in the UK, we're not like there's patriots here, but compared to American people or the American culture, it's completely. They blow things out of the water. They're more animated. Everything's like a song and a dance, and everything's like with pride. Where obviously with the truth it's beneficial, but obviously in the way of like their cultural, just normal way of life. That's how they're. So he's saying that where the Western interests, he's going against Western interests because they're looking at it as a political move instead of more of a Western influenced move. But so, as I said, like because the UK is over here in Europe, pretty much, we're not on the other side of the world like America. So their interest is going to be more closer to home, innit, where you are. So it makes no sense.
Was asked if Donald Trump should win the next Nobel Peace Prize. Let's take a listen.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control?
Just an advertisement for putting money or gold, well, you can listen to it. Just a bit of gold on digitizing gold.
Even. Well, Tally Money is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of Tally Money, Cameron Parry. What is Tally Money?
Well, at Tally Money, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you
so that's pretty much, you can look at that another time, but they're pretty much just digitalizing gold instead of having it tangibly where people used to have gold or gold bars. So continuing with the main
do
subject.
that though? What is
Skip through here.
Leaders who got us to
Introducing MIQ Sigma, AI-powered
Advertisement.
advertising technology built to cut through the complexity
But
of
yeah, we're pretty much at the
programmatic
end of this
to
thing,
deliver
man.
smarter, faster, more
So
Plus,
that gets the time. Elder Apostle Charlie used to say like not to lighten up, tighten up.
leaders who got us to this place. But you're absolutely right. The challenge now is tomorrow, an implementation, and therefore, yes, today is historic, But what happens tomorrow really matters, and that's why what I've been discussing with leaders all day is what part can we play, and we, the United Kingdom in particular, I think, can play a part in monitoring the ceasefire, but also decommissioning the capability of Hamas and their weaponry.
Joshua Trevino, again it was said over the weekend by Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, the United Kingdom played a key role behind the scenes in shaping this deal. Sir Keir Starmer there sticking to that script. Do you think that's the case, or was the United Kingdom basically spare parts at a wedding?
No, I don't think the United Kingdom played a key role. Look, Steve Witkoff on the American side has said very generous things, as he ought to, about a British ally. But I think anybody who has been familiar with this process knows what the end game has looked like. Has understood very clearly that the Starmer regime right now has, if anything, been counterproductive toward peace. This peace was achieved despite British diplomacy and efforts, and it's unfortunate to have to say that as somebody who values the U.S.-UK relationship.
What about all other leaders who were there today? Well, of course, Emmanuel Macron, the leaders, the European Union, Australia. Do you feel that what's happened today is a new beginning in many senses of the emergence, Joshua, of the United States as the true leader of the global superpower of the West, and the liberal West simply abandoned their core mission of supporting the United States and helping out a key ally in Israel?
I think the United States, and look, as an American, I'm biased, but I do think the United States, certainly in the past century, has been the indispensable nation for liberty around the world. That has been true in generations past. It's true now. And I would encourage our European friends, who ought to share in that mission, to take a step back and reflect on what's happened today. When you look at Macron, when you look at any of the European powers, all of this happened. This peace has been achieved despite their efforts, in contravention to what they urged the Israelis to do, in contravention to what they urged the Palestinians to do, and that should give them pause. I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's all color coded. Also, if you know about their rituals, and there was a video maker used to call the black child. He used to go into it, but yeah, this is Trump Nero. Benjamin, not a Jew. I don't know who this ball is, but yeah, them two says that scripture says a little one should draw him out. So we're heading into World War III very soon.
But there's always hope for change.
The clip we were trying to show you there was where Sir Keir Starmer was asked, will you be nominating Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize? The Premier of Pakistan said tonight he would. Earlier on today, Benjamin Netanyahu said you didn't win it this year, but certainly you should next. Sir Keir Starmer said, well, there will be many candidates. Wouldn't even pin his colour to the mast at this stage. I think that's a disgrace. What about you?
I tend to agree, but it is also entirely to be expected from the current UK political leader.
See what I mean? Because I'm going to let him run through, but they're expecting the UK and Keir Starmer to move with the same vehemence as America. But obviously they have different interests. America is more bent over forwards for them Ashkenazis in Israel. You saw them two together. And you can see as well, Keir Starmer's on pretty much on the other side. So the mother is going to reject the daughter. Okay, eventually, UK is pretty much going to shoot. It's going to burn the hole. They're going to shoot missiles against America eventually. Anyway, when she finally kicks off, because it's all about your the best interest. There's no way you're gonna have like war with someone, sorry, and then you're on the other side, but you're supposed to be expecting to back their beef. Like, it makes no sense. But obviously that's the mindset of Emperor Trump and the American people, especially with them Ashkenazis in Israel. That's what they think. They like the little one should draw them out. But they're not drawing out the mother of America.
Sure. Why?
the beast.
Well, look, they're not true nationalists. You know, my impression from across the pond, as it were, is that the UK regime right now does not advocate for the interests of the United Kingdom as a nation. They perceive themselves as part of the globalist class. They're internationalists, and
See, here we go. I'll repeat it. I'll get that one back. These Americans, they talk pretty fast as well, but or maybe I'm just listening slow. I don't know, but turn it up a little bit. These Edomite Americans.
Didn't win it this year, but certainly you should next. So Keir Starmer said, well, there will be many candidates. Wouldn't even pin his colour to the mast at this stage. I think that's a disgrace. What about you?
I tend to agree, but it is also entirely to be expected from the current UK political leadership.
Why?
Well, look, they're not true nationalists. You know, my impression from across the pond, as it were, is that the UK regime right now does not advocate for the interests of the United Kingdom as a nation. They perceive themselves as part of the globalist class. They're internationalists, and they advocate for that class rather than the people of their nation. It's a problem across the world. It's a problem in the United States. It's a problem definitely in Europe, and. So the answer that the Prime Minister gave is entirely consonant with the views of that class. I think if you had a real patriot in charge, though, he would say something different.
Thank you very much.
Exactly. So, boom. That's where Trump and the Americans, they're more patriotic in a sense where that's where the pride comes in. Because they're looking at it as like a country view, they're not looking at it as like a view where it's like off of best interests. They're looking at it as just America. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to bring them into it. It's the pride at their heart that have deceived them. You know?
So let's bring you in now. Thank you seems to be the hardest phrase for so many people.
Now they're going to demonize this guy because obviously he's going to pretty much bring out the fact that the UK, he's going to back the UK and say, look, the UK's move was based off of a political move off of the interest to pretty much apparently evenly bring peace by recognising Palestine as a state. But the guy in the middle, and obviously the guy on the left, the American, they don't want to see Palestine as a state. They just want to get it out of the way, or not just ignore them, not even recognise them. So all the stuff that's been going on, you know, fuck them anyway because they're not our people. But at the same time, everything that's been going on with them, yeah, with the annex of the country and Gaza Strip and all that stuff, they want to just pretty much just look over that, like blow and put it under the carpet. But where this guy's going to pretty much, I wouldn't say defend them, but just acknowledge, you know, they're going to, obviously with their media as well, they're going to put them on the foot, talk over them or not.
On the Liberal left to say peace has been achieved. You're no mega fan of Donald Trump, but do you think you want to say thank you to the President?
Yes, I would. I'd be happy to say thank you to him. I think that it was an absolutely fantastic achievement. It wouldn't have happened without him, so I've got no hesitation in praising him for what he did. I would take issue with Joshua about recognising Palestine as a state. I don't think it either helped or harmed this particular process. What I do think it might do is help the next stage.
How did it help?
Well, it'll help the next stage was part of Donald Trump's 20-point plan.
The mass were celebrating.
Well, part of Trump's 20-point plan is to get statehood for Palestine. That's what we've done, and it's not a huge step. We've already had a long-term policy of a two-state solution for the Middle East. Recognising the other state was not such a huge leap. So as I say, I don't think it made a huge difference to what happened today.
Do you think Britain's status on the global stage is simply withering away? At the moment, I mean, let's be relevant.
We're not America. I mean, there is no doubt.
Be a true ally of America and stand by their principles and support Israel. Instead, they backed the state of Palestine. Hamas round the streets with glee.
No, I don't think that recognising Palestine is backing Palestine against Israel. It's not a question of that. It's a question of trying to get a fair solution to what's been happening in the Middle East for the last 40 years.
There's a two-horse race. Sir Keir Starmer back the losing horse.
No, you shouldn't think of it as a two-horse race. That at some point, I mean, it's going to be. I think we're a long way away from it. But at some point, Palestine and Israel, as separate states, have to live alongside each other.
Joshua, final word to you. We can have semantics all we like. When push comes to shove, you think Americans will remember in this hour of need that the United United Kingdom chose to back Palestine. And many people who don't have the political nuance or subtlety, they will think that that was a backing for Hamas.
Here's the tragedy of it. Those who think about it to that level of discreteness will, but most won't think of the United Kingdom at all and remember it. And it's because of the irrelevance that has been chosen by this regime.
That's a withering, but do you know what? I think a lot of people listening will concur with that. Joshua Trevino, Senior Fellow at the America First Policy Institute, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
On this momentous day.
Yeah, so boom. That's it there, man. Like, pretty much. Bring out a couple of scripture though, but 100%, yeah. We're pretty much at the door. Yeah, let me get this scripture quick. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. I was saying about peace, look. But of the times and of the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. It's Paul speaking to the Thessalonians church. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord Yahweh, Hashem Yeshai, so cometh as a thief in the night. To those, obviously, that are not, the Most High hasn't checked in, we're giving them that tawad, a mark, to be able to watch and be as a watchman. Thief in the night pretty much means you're not going to be expecting it, because obviously you're not looking out, you're not watching out. If you're not watching out, or you haven't been given that mark to have to watch out as a watchman, it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction cometh upon them. Okay, that's what's gonna come. That's what's on its way. He's proudly saying peace and safety. Nothing's even happened yet. He's already screaming peace and safety. So I don't know how that works. Yeah, that's how he's for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay, because you're not going to escape this judgment, your house shall return. Okay, it says here, verse 4, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Okay, because keeping the light, the oil in your lamp, but being out on the highways and byways, but keeping an eye on what's going on, the news, alternative media. Okay, you gotta look at the receipts, and you see the signs and the times, you gotta recognize it. It says, yeah, the children of the light, children of the day, we're not in the night with darkness. Okay, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let's watch and be sober. Let's watch and be sober, keep a keen eye. For they that sleep in the night, they that are drunken in the night. Okay, because they're drunken with these philosophies, these doctrines. Also, you got people even in 2025. Well, the spirit obviously. If it's not on you, then the Master take it off you. Then it is what it is. But at the same time, you've been in this thing for how long, and all of a sudden you come across this, I don't know, so-called doctrine, and it's like some sort of nuance to you. It's like so, it's refreshing to you. But obviously, that just means that the Most High is pretty much, started to take that light off your eyes, man, like that eye self. Okay, but let us who are of the day, okay, be sober, putting on a breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, hope of salvation. Okay. Then we'll get another one in Revelations. This is going into the UK, the split between UK, EU and America, the beast and Israel. Just go a quick one. Just go straight to the point. Hmm. 1617. Because the UK, obviously, they're not gonna have. They're not gonna have any part of this whole going back and forth with Israel and America, especially when things really kick off with nuclear war. Then they're gonna look to save their own interests straight away. So it says here, Revelation chapter 17 and 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. Okay, so it's the EU nations. Okay, because the beast obviously is the union of obviously Germany and whatnot coming together with the EU, even though there was a split. Even we had Brexit over here, where there was a separation between the UK and the EU nations, which challenged the economy, and then they looked to bring it back together. It says here, thee shall hate the whore, okay, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So it shows you that eventually America obviously will be, I guess, betrayed, but I can't really call it a betrayal because they're talking dog shit about their allies. So you can't be on one hand talking about your allies or disregarding your allies because they're not going into the fire with you for stupidity by bending over forwards for this for Amalek, and then when the heat's turned up with Russia and China, North Korea and the rest of these other nations, they start shooting nukes. What do you think's gonna happen? Of course the UK is gonna shoot a nuke or whatever, release nukes on America. That's how it's gonna work. For the best interest. They just showed you, this video here shows you that the UK is for the political interest. Okay, they're patriotic, but it's a class regime. But just wanted to bring that out there. But yeah, Kwame Nasrallah, man. Down to the wire at the end of this thing. But yeah, hope the video wasn't too long. But pray the video is edifying. To the next one, inshallah.